Welcome to Camp Chaos, where we celebrate the wild ride of modern womanhood.
Join us as we dish on motherhood, life's ups and downs, and all things pop culture that we know you want to talk about.
With special guests and expert insights, we're here to empower you through the chaos of everyday life.
Consider this your ultimate escape from the hustle and bustle. And as always, parental guidance suggested.
Camp is now in session.
Jacquelyn, wife, mama, business owner, founder of Barre Definition. Welcome to Camp Chaos.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited to talk to you. For those of you who don't know, Jacquelyn and I were song girls at USC. And I think I say that because we were both dancers. And I think that gives a lot to your background. Is like obviously a huge part of dance is fitness and body image. And we have a lot of women who come to us like asking for pre and postnatal fitness.
Okay.
And while we can share our experiences, we are not experts in the space. So to have you, someone who's an expert in fitness and nutrition and specifically pre and postnatal is like, I am so excited to talk to you about this. And I kind of want to start with the basics and get into prenatal fitness to start and just like, what does prenatal fitness look like, or what should it look like? Like, what is the ideal fitness regimen for someone who's like newly pregnant? Because I also think people get scared when they get pregnant and they think they have to stop things or they think they have to start something new.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love it. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So my background is I was a dancer, ballerina my whole life. So I did just develop this natural sense of body awareness, you know, throughout my whole life. It's just like you're fine tuning it every day that you're rehearsing, practicing, all that. And so I wanted to create, you know, I was always into movement, and then I started training celebrities up in LA, and I was like doing the whole LA thing, you know, and like rushing around all these studios. And I just wanted to create something that I could actually help more women around the world and not just like a couple people at a time. So that's when I started to, you know, create my online platform and everything, Barre Definition. So Barre Definition is all about graceful movements, like really being in tune with your body, but also feeling strong. I think there's something about being a dancer that I just always felt so strong and connected to my body that I think a lot of women unfortunately don't get to experience. And like whenever I meet a woman who doesn't feel like that, I always feel like I just feel compassion because I'm like, oh, it's like for me, the best feeling. I'm like, oh, I want you to feel this way. You know, I want you to feel strong and I feel connected. And especially when you go into something like pregnancy where you're rapidly changing every single day, like 1 week is totally different from the next week, you know, so you're always trying to keep up with what your body is doing. You're feeling off balance and all of that. It can be a really it can feel uncomfortable and scary because you don't know really what's happening, especially if it's your first one. Right. But when it comes to working out, I would definitely say, you know, make sure that you keep moving your body, you know, like moving your body would be, I think that's the biggest mistake is that women completely stop and they get scared and they just get, you know, stiff and they just sit on the couch. And I get it. Like the first trimester for me was like horrible. You know, I felt so defeated on some days. I just would take these crazy long 3-4 hour naps. I'm like, you know, where
sounds like a dream.
Where did I just go? You know?
Yeah.
But so
your body's not your own, I feel like, during pregnancy, and especially your first when you have no idea what's going on. You're like, what is this part of life?
It's really tough. But I think that there is a lot of fear around it. And I always want to empower women to still know that moving your body is going to help give you that energy that you're lacking. You know, I think it's a little bit counterintuitive sometimes where you think, oh, I'm really tired. I feel this and that. Like, I'm just going to sit here. Where really like, if you actually got up and started moving, that could help create that energy that you need, give you that boost and just give you that refreshing feeling, you know, just whether it's a couple minutes, a 5-minute walk around the block or whatever it is, because our bodies need to keep moving. Otherwise, I just think of like a pond, you know, if a pond starts to sit there for a while, it just gets like gross and mildewy and, you know, and you think of a nice rushing river, you know, it's like always, you think fresh and it's always beautiful and clean and clear. Like that's pretty much how our bodies work. You know, you don't want to just be like a sitting pond.
Right. No,
it's a very, very intensive visual.
Not.
Yes.
But I think you're right in that women in pregnancy, either get scared or they don't feel well, which is totally valid. Like that first trimester sucks for most people. And it's really hard for others who like literally can't get out of bed. But there is something, and I say it all the time whenever I post my workouts, is like, I feel so much better after I move. Like, I hate waking up in the morning before the kids to do it, but it like changes my day on the days that I do it versus when I don't do it. So what are some ways that women can like kind of force themselves to push the movement? Like it seems almost more mental than anything.
Yeah. And it's crazy now, like being not pregnant anymore. It's almost hard to remember those like horrible days, you know? And so right now I'm like, yeah, just get up and move, you know, but it's so easy to say, but in that moment, gosh, it was so tough. But I think really like always reminding yourself of like, okay, am I going to feel better afterwards? You know, am I like, ask yourself those questions and just see if you could just maybe go down if you have stairs or something, like we have like a big set of stairs. I'd be like, let me just try doing like some stairs, you know, just to like get your heart rate going a little bit, something that's like really gentle and obtainable. And then of course, just like getting outside and maybe just going up and down your street. Like it doesn't even have to be like a full, like you don't want to give yourself that pressure of like, I need to do 30 minutes, whatever it is. You know, start off with those 5 minutes. Usually, you know, like they say in kinetics, if a object is in motion, it'll stay in motion. And so most likely what's going to happen is your body's going to start to build up, you know, that heat. It's going to start circulating your blood. It's going to start to, your brain is going to start to wake up a little bit, and it's going to start to feel, you know, better and better the more you do it. So I think just getting that start, and then, you know, that any support system that you have, whether it's your spouse or a friend, you know, to help say like, can you encourage me like on those days that I feel sick, that I feel like I shouldn't, or I don't want to, you know, having that support system I think is really helpful. And then also that's why I created my prenatal app too, you know, or the prenatal program, Power My Pregnancy, where maybe it's something, I just always say something that's going to connect you to your body, maybe just 5 minutes, like get on the mat and stretch for a couple minutes, or get on the mat and breathe, or think about, you know, just connect to your pelvic floor, or just something that'll help ground you and connect you into your body, I think is huge. Just a couple minutes.
You know, it's funny. I feel like she is such a workout junkie where like I work out and I'll do Pilates and I lift weights, but like I'm not like her where I'm like 5 days a week regimented. I have to, or I will be like, I'll be okay if I don't work out today. However, with my first pregnancy, it was like very important to me because I knew the health of the baby and like how important that was. So it wasn't even like my body motivation of like, oh, I've got to do this for me for labor, or I got to do this for me to feel good. It was, this is good for my baby. Like that was my motivation. And I also, like, this sounds so silly, but I would listen to every single book about pregnancy or parenting while I was walking. So like some days it was like, you know, and we live in such a beautiful neighborhood to walk anyways, but like next thing you know, you're like walking for an hour and you're like, the endorphins start to hit you.
Yes.
I will say though, after having a second baby and like being pregnant with a second baby and you have a toddler to worry about, that was for me, I was like,
much harder.
I don't need to work out. I am chasing you all the time. Like you are getting my heart rate up. Like it was a totally different ball game. And I don't know if that makes a difference of like being pregnant with a boy or a girl, but I was so much sicker with her in my second pregnancy that I found every excuse to not get up. Like if I had a time, it sounds awful, like I would choose to like lay down and rest, then like get out and walk. And it was awful. And like my body, it was like the first pregnancy versus the second was harder for me recovery wise. It was harder for me to lose the weight. Like,
well, you're probably already tired. Like I'm tired, you know.
Aren't you tired?
It's like you're already, like it's a totally different thing of being like that fresh new mom into your pregnancy. Then you have a baby and you know, you don't sleep and all that stuff. And then you're chasing the toddler around like, yeah, I could imagine just being way more tired. That's why I think like just giving yourself the not the pressure of getting out there, but doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
Like
even if it's meditation, this sounds silly, but like if you're doing
amazing.
Like meditation, it's like it almost gets you in the mindset for that. It's like just having something scheduled in your day of whether you're waking up 10 minutes earlier. I mean, and there's so many workouts people can do at home now.
Yeah, that's all I do. I don't like the gym, you know. I never liked the gym, and that's why I created my app, because I I felt weird in the gym. I was like, what do I do here? You know, it just felt very masculine. And so anything you can do at home, yeah, you could even do like a 5-minute arm exercise with some light weights, or you could do like a meditation or a little stretch, or like some sideline booty exercises, you know, to help strengthen your hips and your back, you know, with your growing belly, or even like working on your pelvic floor. Like you could take a ball and start like opening up your perineum and those kinds of things. Like just
How?
So you take like a lacrosse ball, or like a yoga tune-up ball or something like that, and then you actually like position it in like that area, and you sit on it. It doesn't go inside of you or anything. It's like outside. It's just there. It's just there, and it's just like a pressure, and then you start to like sink down.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it
Did you bring balls, Jacquelyn?
I actually just got a lacrosse ball off of Amazon for my foot, because my arch of my foot has been bothering me. So now it's going to go from my foot problem to my perineum.
Congratulations.
Well,
and I feel like it's, even as talking about that area, it all makes you giggle. Like, pelvic floor. However, like that,
it's so important.
Is so important. We had a pelvic floor therapist. She was my pelvic floor therapist with my second baby. And the way that she was, and like showing us, like, it's so weird how women are not conditioned to be in tune with their body. It goes back to what you're saying, but like your pelvic floor holds up so much more than just like,
it holds up your organs.
It's
everything.
your entire body.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that we're not conditioned at a very young age to understand the importance in that connection is like beyond me. So here we are in our 30s trying to figure out like, what do we do down there?
Yeah.
Sit on a ball?
Yeah, it is crazy. I actually think pelvic floor and core are like two of the most important things for women, but I feel like in pregnancy, you only focus on pelvic floor, and then sometimes your doctors will tell women like stop core at 20 weeks or whatever. And I just feel like
I did a workout with you yesterday, and you were working that core.
I believe in like working.
She also did the splits though. I was like, I can't.
She knows, you know. I'm like, I gotta stretch.
Oh my god! I'm like, this baby's gonna literally pop out. I think I see her head. You're crowning.
I know.
Slide out in the splits.
But I think like it's really important that we encourage women to like continue to do things. So I would love if you could take us through almost each trimester, like what some exercises that we can be doing, and so that people aren't scared. Like some people ask me, like, I can't believe you're still doing core. I'm like, I still feel good enough in my body to do core, and I think it helps in recovery.
Are you doing like crunches, or what are you actually doing?
Well, we did a bar class yesterday, so I did planks.
Oh, and
you crunched.
I did do some crunches.
I watched you crunch. I wasn't crunching. She was.
Well, like, mind you, this is my third baby, and like I have progressively strengthened my core since the first, and I'm similar to you, like being a dancer, you are so connected and in tune with your body that I very much know when I need to modify, when I don't. Like there are certain things where I'm like, I probably shouldn't have.
And see, that's what I want every woman to have, like that, like how dancers feel. I just think it's such a gift.
Okay, so before we even go into the trimester tips, then like, how do you feel connected to your body? Like, because I think you say that, and it's like, okay, I want that. How do I get that?
I think it's practice. That's why I say it's every day showing up on your mat, and it's in exploring and being curious, right? Whether it's through breath work, whether it's like through taking the ball and putting it a place where you haven't before, and where, you know, feeling, actually like palpating, feeling your core, feeling your muscles. Like I have another program in the app called Ab Rehab, where it's like a postnatal, and I have women, you know, like feel your own body. I don't think women really are
touching themselves.
Yeah, they don't like, or their muscles, right? Yeah. Like I used to be obsessed, like in high school, I remember, because I was like, I really wanted a 6-pack, and I was like, how do I get a 6-pack? You know, so I used to like sit there and like feel my muscles and like feel in the middle, like the ridge line, and like, you know, just like, I think it's just that daily practice of getting just comfortable with your body and being curious about the muscles and how they work. And any chance you get, you know, if you can, look up visuals of what your ab muscles look like, you know, and see how they cross, you know, how they cross this way, how the obliques cross this way, how that, you know, the rectus abdominis and all the muscles, how they work, you know. So most of the time we're working pelvic floor, you know, you're working bottom up, and then we're working the low deep core muscles, the transverse, which go across like a seat belt, right? So you want to think of it going across. Most people just think of the rectus abdominis, which is the top part of the core, which those are easier to get them to like, you know, look strong, but we want to work those lower belly muscles underneath the belly button. That's usually, you know, the lower belly pooch. So you want to think about, but that comes from breath work, right? Your breath and the breath pressure because it's a whole pressure system. And so working from the bottom up, getting the transverse abdominis to work, and then the rectus abdominis is going to usually always work. It's like easy to tap into. So we're trying to tap into those bottom ones. But
it's crazy how like it's all so connected.
Yes. And so I think like when it comes to core and pregnancy, like I was saying, we're a pressure system, right? So we breathe every day, right? So every time you take a breath, you're using all your core muscles. So your core muscles include your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, so those muscles, your core, front core muscles, your side, and even your back muscles. And then some of these like your serratus and your lats here. So that's all, and the intercostal muscles. So this is all your core. So you want to think of it like this big, this big sphere as opposed to like just these muscles. So I think when you start to think of it as like this whole unit working together, it's like, you realize that everything works together. And so just as simple things like, when you have your big belly, you want to think of always exhaling and taking the pressure out. So people are usually afraid of the ab splitting, right?
Right.
Which we are, everyone gets a little bit of ab splitting, which is totally normal. And usually it'll all come back together. That's like the goal. But what can happen is if you are not using your breath correctly, I like to just really simplify it, is if you are picking up something heavy, take a second to take an exhale, right? Because you take the pressure out and then pick something up, So you inhale, exhale, and then pick it up. Because if you think about like a balloon, putting pressure on it and now you're trying to pick something heavy up, that's when it can, burst open. So you just want to take the pressure out. So you have that, you don't have all this extra pressure here, exhale, and then pick something up. It's just like, I feel like the simplest thing to just try to like get that fear out of the ab splitting. But that's the biggest mistake I see is women just completely avoid everything that has to do with their core. And then it's almost like they're scared and they don't want to move. They don't want to pick anything up heavy. They don't want to do anything like that, which is the worst thing you could do, right? Like you need to learn how to use it. And I think doctors are doing a huge disservice by telling women to just avoid it and to stop it instead of actually teaching women how to use it and how to be comfortable with that. So I hate it when I hear women say that. And I'm always like, how much time do you have? Like, let's talk about your core. And
because it's not just stopping, it's figuring out how to do it safely.
Yes, figuring out how, and like whenever women say like, okay, which exercises should or should not do? And I'm like, you can do anything. Like, like that's what I like to empower women to say like, everything is on the table, like you, right? Like when you actually know, you can do anything, but like, let's actually work on learning, So that's like in my program, I show you everything of how to really work the pelvic floor, how to use your breath, how to use your core through every trimester, which is so important because I want women to feel empowered to move like that, like to move like you,
Yeah.
And I do think that there's this interesting time of pregnancy where like, even if you're not connected to your body before, like in your adolescence, teenage 20s, whatever it is, I feel like when a woman gets pregnant, like you just have a different mind-body connection and you become so much more aware because you also have no choice. Like things are happening down there that are like, whoa, something's different. And then you start feeling those kicks and you're like, oh my God, I think you just get this new appreciation. But I do find it interesting that like some women will start working out for the first time or like get regimented during pregnancy. I'm like, oh, you should have done that like years before, but at least they're doing it at some point. When you look at postnatal, like I think that everybody goes to that 6 week and they're like, okay, you're cleared for sex and you're cleared for working out, which we've talked about on the podcast before. I was like, why is some man telling me 6 weeks is like that mark that like I could be done? And like, do you think that you could be before? Do you think you should wait till later? Like, when do you think it's safe to work out after baby?
Yeah, no, I love that question because it's another thing too, where women say, oh, I was cleared. And it's like, well, you could clear yourself, because like it's your body.
Totally.
And no one knows your body better than you, And so if you can actually like have that practice of like checking in with yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to just try moving a little bit. Okay, yeah, I feel good. Or maybe no, I don't feel ready. Like for me, it took me a while. Like I was out doing walks and things like that, but it took me like probably like 2 months to actually do like a light workout, where it was like a couple of like light weights and things like that. And maybe to even try like a push up on my knees. But I don't like to give that like that's like the number one question, like, oh, should I wait till I'm cleared? And I'm always like, I think that language is just very disempowering. I think a lot of things through birth and through everything is so disempowering. It's like you're waiting for someone to tell you what to do. It's like you need to, like, you can take responsibility for yourself and learn and that's going to be the most empowering thing. I mean, I think becoming a mother is a crazy transformation, I think it's like the true transformation of becoming an adult. Like, I don't think you're really an adult until you
until you bring that baby home. You're like, I'm sorry, who's going to come take care of this person?
Yeah. That's like when I had a home birth and we did the midwife left. And when I was like, wait, where are you going? Who's going to take care of this baby?
She's like,
we're leaving. I'm like,
come back.
Like,
come back now. Yeah, like, I'm not ready for this because someone called my mom.
Yeah, I was like, where are you going?
And we were both C-sections for our first, and that was a whole other level of crazy, especially with working out. Like, and I think now if, like, I have chills, hopefully you don't have a C-section and you won't, but like if my third was a C-section, like, you'd feel more empowered. But like, I remember before that scar, it's like, you don't even want to touch it. You don't want to look at it.
Scared of it.
Like, you're scared of crunching. You're scared of ripping something open. Like, when you think about how intense that is, like, however, our bodies are very magical and how fast they heal.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're like, oh, don't lift anything other than your baby. I'm like, my baby's huge. Like, at least I can take like some 3-pound weights, like, and do some like light workouts. Like, I'm lifting this baby. You expect me to do this all the time? Like, let me do something that feels good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby is like way harder and they're like dead weight.
100%. Like, give me a couple 5 pounds.
Or like 2-pounders.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a hard thing for women in general, but also like pre and postnatal is, I am a huge believer in, like, I call it the dancer workout, basically what you promote. Like, I remember following you on Instagram when I was pregnant with the kids, and you have so many different options, like you said, of like a 10-minute working on the side of the hips, which for me is like such a problem area, like where my love handles are and like the outside. But I think a lot of women don't know because there's so much information online. Like, should I be lifting heavy weights? Should I be doing cardio? Is bar enough for me? Like, there's so many different options, but I find personally that bar is the most all-encompassing just because it's core. It like is tailored to a woman's body and like everything that you want to work on. And it can also be done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30, like you can take it how you want. So from your like professional opinion, and I know you've had like many different phases in the fitness industry, like what do you think is the best kind of workout for women?
Yeah. I mean, I think bar and Pilates I think like we keep talking about, it really helps you to understand your body. Like you start to really connect to these smaller muscle groups. And I think, definitely there's a place for weights, but I think until you really know your body, I don't think we should be lifting heavier weights, like, cause there's just a lot of, there's all that extra weight. And I think there's, a progression that you can get there and then you can start adding weights in. Mm-hmm. But when you start moving your legs and learning how to lift your leg up in a certain way and learning how to like
just focus on your own body weight before you add other weight.
Like lift your body weight and then add some in. But especially for a pregnancy, that's always like, oh, I haven't worked out. Should I start now? It's like, absolutely start. Like, start as soon as you can. Start if you're going to be pregnant next year, start if you're pregnant now. Like, just start, right? Like, moving your body. There's nothing better than moving your body. It's like when people always ask, like, I don't know. It's the tried and true diet and exercise. Like, I think we all wish that there was like, there are supplements and these things and red light, all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's just the basics.
I know. And that's why
I do love my red light though. And I love my supplements and I love all the added stuff.
Well, all the things, but I feel like anytime we do Q&As of, what do you guys want to hear on the podcast? Everybody wants like the answers to
the shortcut.
Fitness and nutrition, and it's hard to give.
And especially every body is so different. Like
so different.
We both are strong in our own ways, but like we eat completely different. And she's more portion controlled. I'm like, I eat what feels good and what I want. I'm like more intuition based. She's like measuring based. Like we are two different people, and so you feel like, why am I going to give somebody advice? Like what's right for your body?
So you guys have both different ways of going about it. But I think fundamentally, we all need the same things.
Yes.
Right? So
protein.
we need.
Let's talk about.
Let's get into nutrition.
I'm like, you tell us how much protein we need to be eating, because that is one thing I do think every woman should try to measure.
Yes, definitely. Like like I always say, you could spend a couple weeks like measuring your food and seeing what protein looks like. Like, so I recommend at least like 30 grams of protein per meal. I think just center everything about protein. Like start your day with protein. It should be the first bite you have. If you're hungry, and you need a snack, reach for a protein snack, something that has protein. And then your meals should all have at least 30 grams of protein.
That's hard to hit.
Yeah, what does that look like? Because
No,
I can hit it in the
Yeah,
morning. Like my breakfast, I can normally hit a lot of protein, but that's also because I'm like scooping protein powder into my coffee, and then I eat eggs and chicken and all. But by like lunch and dinner, I find like the protein is getting less and less. So like, what does
what is going more and more though?
Well, like I'll do a salad
Carbs,
and chips, yeah, and then like dinner
pasta.
is like chicken, but I feel like it's not enough.
Right.
I don't know, and I don't measure
because like the size of your palm chicken is what? How many?
Yeah, how many grams?
Like
of
how many
protein?
grams of protein?
So you want like at 5 ounces.
Okay, so are you
And that's
measuring
30,
with the
but
scale?
that's not 30 grams of protein, is it? 5 ounces?
5 to 6 ounces.
Is
are
30
about
okay,
30
that's fair.
grams. Yeah.
Okay, then maybe
So
I'm
it could
doing
be
better
like-
than I
we're
think.
doing better than we think.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is we don't know. Like
I don't
See?
know.
we are horrible.
Well, and it depends where
at-
you're getting your chicken from because
Well, and also like I want to encourage women to eat red meat too.
Yeah.
I don't think women are eating enough red meat. Everything in a prenatal vitamin is in red meat and in liver. You know.
Okay.
do you take liver supplements or do you eat
I take liver and I eat liver and
You
I
eat liver.
and I
What
eat
kind of liver
raw,
do you eat?
too.
You eat it raw? Do you
I know.
freeze it?
Yeah, it's frozen, so I put it in a smoothie.
Okay, so you don't know you're eating it. You don't
I
like.
mean, I can kind of know. I can.
do
kinda
you
smell.
ever slice? Like, do you ever have it fresh out of your fridge?
Yeah,
like
sometimes.
slice it.
Sometimes,
you
and
can
I'll just do
stomach
it raw.
You're
well,
nuts.
no, I know I am, but my husband and I will do it, and they'll like sometimes it's like just kind of like a jelly thing. I'll just swallow it really quick, and I don't even taste it, and I'll just like
You don't gag.
down it with some milk.
Yeah, I'll do the ancestral supplements with liver.
Yes.
Sorry, you're gonna get grossed out now. But like, I got my husband to do the one for the male. Like, you can. This is so gross. You're like eating balls and tests, like you know
Yes,
that.
you should be eating whatever your body needs, or like the organs that you should be
Yes,
eating.
like you need heart. There's one. My husband. They're all upstairs. Like there's heart ones.
Yes.
There's for female. You're eating ovaries.
Right.
I'm like grossed out saying
brain,
that.
like brain, mood. Some people don't like the brain, but like heart, spleen. I'm taking like a histamine one, so it's like all the histamine.
So what are the benefits of liver?
Eating organs.
Oh my gosh, liver is the number one superfood. If there's one thing that you should be having during your pregnancy or trying to get pregnant, even breastfeeding, all of that. I mean, just it's a superfood. I mean,
And
when
you can
like
supplement it.
ancestrally, like women would only get the organ meats, not only, but they would give the organ meats to women who are pregnant because it's like the most nutrient dense food in the planet. So
Well,
it has
I mean, a little late now, but I should
No,
be.
well, even
I
later.
can do
You got a couple
postpartum.
weeks.
Yeah, I got a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you could stomach, I think it's like
You can do the pills.
The pills are fine. Putting
You
it in a
can't-
smoothie is intense.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It's like a whole next
I
level.
do think
but
though, like
the pill. Do the pills.
yeah, and I do think that if you can get your kids, I don't know if you're
Yes, I give her liver.
okay. I would give Zane liver in a smoothie. I would supplement it. I would open the capsule and
Oh,
put it
yeah.
in. I didn't know
You
that
guys
about
are
me.
amazing.
I know.
I
No,
know.
it's so gross. It's like it's gross, but it's also like not. It shouldn't.
Yeah,
be.
I know. I want to normalize it.
It needs to be normalized.
Yeah.
But I would love like Zane and Zoe will eat like sardines and I'm like gagging.
Oh,
My
yeah.
mom will feed it to them. I'm like, open the doors, feed it to them outside like they're cats.
Yeah.
She's like, so I should get them because they have very adventurous palates. I
Yes.
should get it for them. But I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, and there's even some ground beef liver blends that are actually pretty good, and I think it's ancestral. I don't know, I forget, but you could do that too, where it's like a grass-fed beef liver blend. And so we give, but I
disguised.
don't like liver. I think it's disgusting, but like, yeah, we're trying to give our baby it, and so, but my husband's so funny because I was like, oh, I can smell it. He goes, don't do that in front of her.
oh,
Yes,
You know?
I agree.
He's like, say you love it. He's like,
Yeah.
say, go.
yeah, as you're
Delicious.
slicing. And if you've ever, have you
take
ever
a
seen
bite and
it?
say,
I've seen it. I
You've
feel
seen
like
a
on
liver.
Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, like
We
they're.
should do a liver taste test. I just got
Oh no,
chills.
I will not be participating in that because I will be puking on this podcast.
All right, guys, let's be honest. Dinner time in mom life is pure chaos. One kid's crying, the other one's asking for snacks while you're trying to cook, and somehow you forget to defrost the chicken again. That's why we are obsessed with Marley Spoon. It's a meal kit from Martha Stewart, and yes, that Martha. It's basically the dinner hack every mom needs. They deliver fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, easy to follow recipes straight to your door. So no grocery trips, no wasting food, and no what's for dinner panic at 5 p.m. and then end up just door dashing something.
The meals are so delicious. Think creamy Alfredo chicken, sweet chili tofu bowls, and even kid-friendly favorites like burgers and tacos. Plus over 100 recipes to choose from every single week. So whether you're juggling at work, school drop-offs, or just trying to survive bedtime, Marley Spoon helps take one big thing off your plate, literally. Right now, Marley Spoon is giving Camp Chaos listeners a special offer. Get up to $235 off your first 6 boxes. Yes, you guys, $235 off your first 6 boxes, plus free shipping on your first order. Go to marleyspoon.com and use code CHAOS at checkout. That's marleyspoon.com, code CHAOS. Because feeding your family shouldn't feel like a meltdown, let Marley Spoon handle dinner so you can handle the chaos.
When in my first trimester, I had a horrible protein aversion, so I just wore a nose plug.
Oh.
And then I just like downed everything because I was like, I know I need
Aversions are so hard during pregnancy.
I would just like close my eyes, put a nose plug in, and just like eat it, and then I'd have like ice cream or something after.
Okay, so other than liver, what else is like the number one food or like your top 3 foods that every woman should eat while you're pregnant?
Definitely liver. 2 is meat, like not meat, but red meat, like ground beef, steaks, and then 3rd, I would say fats like grass-fed butter. Tallow.
Avocados.
I would say animal fat.
Animal fat. You are a carnivore. I love it.
Because it has like animal fats have different fats than plant fats. You know, they have like the fat soluble vitamins like A, D, K, E, like butyric acid in butter, which helps, you know, absorb your calcium better. It's just animal fats are just, and you know, they're better for cooking. They have a higher smoke point, like tallow.
Do you use beef tallow to cook?
Yeah, I use tallow and butter.
Do you use tallow on your face?
Yes.
Do you use tallow as a diaper cream? I did that to Zoe.
Have you done that?
We use emu oil.
Is there tallow in it?
There's no tallow in it, but it's a thinner oil. It's an Australian bird.
Okay.
But it absorbs really well into the skin, like really fast.
Okay.
I know. I'm like,
no, this tallow. I'm like, is there the swag bags? Is there any tallow? Yeah. There's some liver. No. You need to put that in the fridge. Next time there will be.
What are some good like protein snacks? Because I feel like in pregnancy is when like the snacking habits come.
Especially because you don't want to eat too much processed food, but it's like you're on the go and you're like hungry.
I know.
And then, like peanut butter pretzels are so easy to grab.
So easy. we are like huge peanut butter pretzel people.
I don't eat, and then I'm like
put them away.
I'm like a stress eater. I'm like, I think they're in my car.
I can't stop.
We can't stop either.
Even like talking about it now, I'm like,
oh my God, Meghan Markle took them out of one bag and put them in another bag. I'm like, are you serious, honey? I've been doing this for years.
Oh my God.
You have a Netflix series from taking your peanut butter pretzels from your Trader Joe's bag and putting them in another one with a little brown like tie? No. But Meghan Markle's new show, have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, I have to send you the clip. You will die. And she's
okay.
like, has a whole show of like how genius she is, like the little Martha Stewart. I'm like, honey, we've been eating those things and you just repurposed a new plastic bag.
Welcome aboard to the peanut butter pretzel train.
No, but I do think like hard-boiled eggs are a great like thing to grab and snack.
Hard-boiled eggs, beef jerky, even like salmon, like if you can get smoked salmon, right? Because that's easy on the go.
How is that easy on the go? Where are you getting smoked salmon? Like jerky salmon?
No, you can even get at the store, just like a package.
Yeah,
of
but like honey, you're going somewhere and you're like, I'm going to have a snack. I'm opening this can of salmon. You're going to clear a room.
You're focused on your health.
No, you're going to clear a room. So. And you know what this is also so messed up.
I don't care.
You know what's amazing though that I feel like is very important for us to do as mothers and like raising children. I remember like when I was little taking tuna to school, you'd be like, ooh, you're the fishy girl. Like, ew, who brought fish?
Yeah, kids are mean.
Kids are so mean. But like for me, I'm like, I would love to send my kids with sardines. The school would be like,
they
honey.
could be the fishy kids.
See, I don't, but like then you have this weird mental thing of like, this is like yucky.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then you think peanut butter and jellies are great.
Parenting thing, which I'm like,
he'll get there.
Yeah.
Of like, just, I don't know, making them comfortable with themselves and not caring. It's like, that's a lifelong
food relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think other protein things, like even you can like make like egg muffins that are easy on the go. I mean, I love bacon, sausage. There's so many. If you look at like how much different protein things, it's like I love eggs and bacon in the morning. Mm-hmm. You know, those are easy to go. Like even to make a bunch and you can have it like for the week too. Yeah. I do love the salmon. Cheese is also great. So full fat dairy is a great source of protein that I think that women are completely overlooking. and
I told you to eat cheese.
cheese has protein.
But I don't eat bacon. See, this is why we're completely
you don't
different.
have to have bacon. You can have like, turkey sausage or like even, pork sausage or whatever. But dairy, like if you can get kefir, or there's even some like really high like protein Greek yogurt, full fat cottage cheese, right? Cottage cheese has like a crazy, I think it's like 20 grams of protein or something.
Cottage cheese is so overlooked. You won't even eat cottage cheese?
Oh
my God,
like
good
cheese?
choice.
No.
Cottage cheese is you're
any
sleeping
dairy?
on that.
You don't like any dairy?
I will eat dairy. I just like haven't eaten cheese since I was like 4 years old.
She gets,
Oh my
she gets
gosh,
pizza
I
without
love
cheese.
I know.
I can't believe
it's
I
very
hang out with
weird.
her.
What about like yogurt or
yogurt? I will do.
Okay.
It's like not my favorite thing, but like my husband loves, like that's sometimes his lunches. He just does like a huge bowl.
That's what
of
I
Greek
do.
Yogurt.
Yeah, like yogurt and cottage cheese.
And you get to put
together.
so much fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
and
the other
berries
thing that
and
I think is so important
granola.
for women is like listening to your body of what you need. Because I found that after I gave birth to my second child, I was like having crazy sugar cravings.
Yes.
But
Well, that means
you need more protein.
And fat.
Yeah. So I would keep like I would like cook a filet and I would thinly slice it. And then I'd have like ground beef cooked. And this sounds disgusting. I would like eat globs of meat.
That's
and it was like so
disgusting.
satisfying.
Yeah.
No, but like I felt like a weird animal. I was like, why do I just
We
want
are
meat?
animals.
I know. I felt like I was just I'm like in my fridge open, like eating meat. Like,
but I think that's
like,
like,
not even
that's like me every day.
she's like,
honey,
that's what I do all the
want to go to my fridge.
Like you sound like my kind of girl.
I know.
But I think it was like what my body, like it just like
You needed it.
Yeah. And maybe it was like the breastfeeding thing too.
Oh,
but it
yeah,
was
breastfeeding.
just,
But I think women aren't getting enough fat either. We're like so afraid of fat. I mean, I remember I used to spray on like that. I can't believe it's butter. Did you guys ever used to use that?
Oh my
Yes,
God.
I know.
I did growing up.
I cringe at it.
course.
I can't believe it's like I can't believe
It's so
it's not.
disgusting in an aerosol
Disgusting.
can. It's so
Yes,
weird.
and I used to have that. But women, if you're having sugar cravings, if you're tired, most likely number one, you're probably not getting enough protein, and two, you're probably not getting enough fat. So women are really afraid of fat, and especially when you're pregnant. I mean, you should absolutely be getting like load up that fat, the grass-fed butter, all that.
Okay, what about like milk? Like, do you like whole milk or raw milk?
I do. Yeah, I do raw whole milk, and
Okay.
that again is like a amazing source of protein and fat. Actually, it's the perfect amount of fat, carbs, and protein. So it's like a perfect food. It's a superfood as well. Like if you go on a farm, like they're feeding all the other animals all the cow's milk. Like everybody gets the cow's milk because it's so incredibly.
Where do you get your raw milk?
We actually get it from an Amish farm, so we get it like cute.
I like that. I love supporting a small farm. Well, because now it's so wild. Like even going to the grocery store is like.
Well, you can go to Sprouts. They have it at Sprouts.
They have it at
and
Sprouts.
Mothers too here in Newport. They have Sprouts or Mothers. But,
yeah,
and you don't like.
Oh, I would do raw whole milk. Yeah, I drink like just like if I've been craving cereal like randomly. So I
had so much cereal when I was pregnant.
Okay, so which brand do you like? The Three
Wishes.
The Three Wishes. Okay, so I've been doing that, and I just do the only milk we have is the kids' whole milk, and I just.
That was like my
I'm
jam. I like that. Yeah.
But I feel like, again, like even when I post about it, because people ask me like, oh, what do you eat? It's
I don't
like,
see you posting that you're eating cereal.
yes, I post
Oh,
like
you
3
do?
times.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
And then I got so many compliments
As
on the
long
brand.
as you're not eating like any
Frosted
Kellogg's.
Flakes?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
No. I do. It's gluten free.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it tastes like just as good as the other things.
It's pretty
but I think
good.
to your point is we are so scared of like, oh my God, cereal now is horrible for you. Like you can't have that. And in my head, I'm like, is cereal? Well, I'm doing whole milk and it's like healthy cereal.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say it's like healthy.
Right. But it's like not the worst thing that I can have.
It's not the worst. It's like, okay, this is fine.
It's gonna satisfy you.
It's not giving me any nutrients. Like I don't need this. Like I always think of like, what does your body actually need? What are your essential nutrients? They're protein and fats.
Okay.
Carbs are not essential. So
unfortunately.
I know. Isn't it so funny when you look at that pyramid? It's like all that what we've been taught.
You mean the food, like the
Yeah, the food
USDA pyramid?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that is so whack.
It's like it's upside down.
Yes.
It
like
should be.
you should
That's
eat.
what she always says.
Yeah. Like eat the other way.
It should be fats and then protein and
like we are sold so many.
So
lies.
it's so the all of that is not if you actually followed the dietary guidelines, you would be insufficient in all of your like micronutrients and macronutrients. Like
wonderful.
Yeah, because it's 60% carbs. Like you can't get all that you need with your protein and fat. It's so
well,
ridiculous.
and I think the other thing, like we're so like supplement heavy, and I do love my supplements. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you should be getting all these nutrients from food.
Right. The goal would be to do that. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, so where can we all have busy lives. So where can you not? Like where do you need
to
help?
add in?
Yeah, where do you need to add in? But I always like to start with food, like real food. Like let's get us like focused on our food and change those habits and see how we can add more of that in. But like with the cereal, right? Like it's not like giving us anything. Like you want to like, but I would say the best part of that cereal is the milk, right? Because you're getting protein
drink that bowl after,
and
honey.
fat. Yeah. Drink all the good, yummy, like cinnamon milk at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any foods that we should be avoiding? Like pregnancy, postpartum?
I would say number one is vegetable oils, like canola oil. Those are highly inflammatory. Some people are saying that they could also be causing infertility if you're trying to get pregnant, things like that. But number one, vegetable oils, which unfortunately is like in every single restaurant that you go to.
I know. Do you even eat out?
Honestly, not really. Yeah. Like we are. And if
but
we
you
do,
can say to a
but if
restaurant,
we do,
like, please cook my food in butter.
Right. But you have to also double check and say that it's real butter, not margarine. Because then they'll be like, and then, we've made that mistake.
Like, here, I can take this to the bathroom.
My butter.
But sometimes it's like barbecue is always a safe bet, right? Because they're like grilling it or they're smoking it. So if you're on the go, barbecue is a great option. Like I always say that, right? Because they usually don't, unless the sauce, then you get in trouble with sauces. So just like watch out for the sauces.
Okay.
But I would say those like vegetable oils, canola oil, sesame oil, like all those peanut oils, rapeseed, all those, even sunflower oil, which is snuck into like every single health food, is like something that you definitely want to avoid because it's very inflammatory. When you have inflammation in the body, then your body just can't function the way it's supposed to. And then I would say after that, then you go into processed foods where just don't really offer anything, nutritionally, and just find ways to enjoy, enjoy your food, find the flavors that you love. And you don't have to cut everything out. But the thing is, when you start to cut out these things, like your processed foods and these vegetable oils, your palate actually becomes more refined and you actually can taste things that you maybe weren't tasted before because these foods hijack your palate.
No, it's highly addictive.
Yeah. And it's designed to be addictive. It's designed to actually bypass the part of your brain that releases the hormones that tells your body that you're full. So it's nearly impossible to eat something like in moderation, right? Because it's designed to like
addict you.
Yeah, addict you. So you can't eat in moderation. It's like an unfair game, know? So like the peanut butter pretzel is like the perfect example where it's like the bliss point of it's sweet and salty. So it's like impossible to say no to, right?
It's literally impossible.
So when you do that, but when you start to take these things out, you will actually start to taste things sweeter. Like things will taste sweeter to you, right? Like even fruit will start to feel like a dessert, right? And so your palate can expand better.
Interesting. Did you breastfeed your daughter?
Yeah, I'm still breastfeeding.
Oh God, good for you. How did you change like nutrition from being pregnant to breastfeeding? Because I feel like you think that you eat a lot in pregnancy, but then like when you're breastfeeding, you are like an animal. I feel like I eat almost twice as much like in postpartum and breastfeeding. Then you do pregnant.
I just eat a lot. I mean, I used to before pregnancy, I had only 2 meals a day. And now for sure I'm having like a full 3 meals.
Okay.
And I can't go
2 meals
as long.
Because you did intermittent fasting or
you weren't just hungry in the morning.
I wasn't as hungry. I would just have like a little bit of coffee with my cream. And
that satisfies you for
and I just didn't need it. But then then pregnancy and then breastfeeding is I can't go that long without food. I just am like tired and hungry and I'm like, okay. So that's why I have the protein. Like I'll do a protein shake and I love it. Like that just is like feels like a treat, and it's easy and it's fun because it's either chocolate or vanilla.
Okay, let's get into the protein because not only is it like a protein shake, it's your protein.
Right.
You created this protein.
Yeah. So I was just sick of other proteins, just having this huge list of ingredients that it was like a laundry list of things. And I'm like, what is all this? So we only have 6 ingredients in it. So it's minimal. It's also low lactose. So it's a whey protein isolate. So even if women have any sort of lactose issues, they should have no issues with this at all, which is great. 0 added sugar. But it has great flavors. Like we have vanilla and then the chocolate. So I've been going crazy with recipes like,
So what is your
peanut
favorite
butter
thing?
chocolate.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your favorite?
I think the peanut butter chocolate is like.
So what do you do? Banana, scoop of peanut butter?
So I'll do half a banana.
Okay.
I'll do like a tablespoon of peanut butter. I'll do 8 ounces of raw milk. And then I'll do another half a cup of like a Greek yogurt that there's one like Siggy's that has a high, or we have sometimes Greek yogurt from the farm, but if you can't get that, obviously you can
You
get
have
the
to
Siggy's.
share your farm with us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But we get the grass-fed, like raw cottage cheese and yogurt, all that. But you can still get, there's a Siggy's that's a Greek yogurt, and that one is really high in protein. And then I have like a homemade granola that I do. So I mix all that up, and then I can like top it with some granola or like toasted coconuts, or you can even do like cacao nibs, which like has like a good crunch, you know, if you want to. And sometimes I will even put my smoothie in a bowl because it just feels more like
Satisfying.
like a
than
meal.
drinking.
Yeah, it feels like I'm eating, and it takes me longer. Whereas like I find in a cup, I feel like I drink it faster, and it's like I still want to like nibble on something.
Yeah. You're like, I need a crunch.
Yeah, so I like to put it in a bowl and like put stuff on top and like nibble and like take my time with it. So
Well, because some of these smoothies can get very caloric, like and very high in sugar, and like you think you're just like, and then you're still hungry, so you're eating too. Like, I think smoothies can be an amazing superpower to get a lot of nutrients, but then it can also be a slippery slope of like, I want more food.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's actually, I'm putting together a whole meal guide and like covering that topic exactly of how like they can be like 50 to 75 grams of sugar in one smoothie, and that it's like, it's a crazy amount. It's like way too much, right? So you want to stay away from juices. You want to stay away from like,
how do we lower that? Well, because it's hard if you don't have the time, maybe being a mom, to make your own smoothie at home, and you're like running to these places. I'm always like trying to build my own because there's so much. It's like apple juice as the option to, you know, put it in. So what do you avoid in a smoothie to lower the sugar? Juices.
Yeah, definitely juices. You could do, I mean, I love the milk. I know a lot of people love almond milk. I would definitely not do oat milk. That will spike your insulin like crazy. So oat milk is not very good. You can do like an unsweetened almond milk or coconut milk, or just do whole milk, which would be great. And then, you know, for a banana, you could always just ask them to do half a banana. And then berries are great. Those are more low sugar, and they're still very sweet. And then like other fruits like mango are very, very high in sugar, you know, so you want to just stay more on the lower, like the berries. And then you want to make sure that there is fat in it. So that's where I think people get into trouble.
Yogurt
the full fat yogurt or the full fat whole milk, or a little bit of peanut butter, or even if you like chia seeds or hemp seeds, like those have more fat in it. Or some avocado. You could do like quarter of an avocado, half an avocado. Something that gives you fat, because that's what's going to help boost your satiety hormones. That's what's going to help you stay full longer. When you have a good smoothie, it should keep you full for at least 4 hours. Right. Yeah. And you want to have at least like 30 grams of protein in it.
Well, so, I know there's like so much on the internet of like all the stuff you can add in, like spirulina, like blue algae, like aloe, like all these things you see, and you're like, well, my smoothie's not doing anything. I've got 4 ingredients in it.
Keep it better. 4 is better. Yeah. You don't need all that other stuff. I don't do all the green stuff. I feel like it bothers my stomach. I don't ever put like spinach or kale or any of that. I feel like that is what bloats me, and like raw veggies. That's something that
But you'll eat raw veggies.
No.
Oh, you don't?
No, because it completely upsets my stomach.
Do you eat cooked veggies, or are you like a fully carnivore girl?
No, I eat veggies sometimes. Okay. But it's like, I mean, I've gone through my whole thing. Like I was vegan for a year. I did that. I tried it. Like it was not for me. It was just, it hurt my stomach. I always had my whole history of health. Like I had really bad acne. That was always like my main driver was acne, and of course like staying thin. Those were like my 2 things, you know, of like what I wanted to achieve. But I could never get my skin cleared up until I removed out like veggies or raw veggies, because that was like completely upsetting my stomach.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. And like sometimes like cauliflower and like cruciferous vegetables can also be a little bit, they can mess with your hormones a little bit because they're so high in estrogen. So I don't know, but that's a whole other
conversation. I know. Well, really quick before we finish, I mean, I can imagine that like becoming a mom has maybe changed the way you see fitness, especially a mom to a daughter and all of that. So like in what ways has motherhood changed the way you see fitness and nutrition?
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying before, you know, especially as a dancer, it's like my goal was always just to look good, you know, like you want to be thin and I wanted to look good. And then as you become a mother and your focus becomes elsewhere, it's like, I still want to look good, you know, but I also want to feel strong and I want to feel energized with her because she's got so much energy. And so it changes where I feel like I'm not so obsessed with being super skinny. Like I wanted to always be like so thin. Whereas I'm like, no, I want to feel strong. I want to see muscle. Like I want to feel like my core is really strong. So I think instead of chasing just thinness, I'm chasing more strength. And I think when you start to do that, then your body comes, you know, it'll look the way you want it to look. It's not this like battle. And then when you dial in your nutrition, you know, when you have enough protein, you're getting 30 grams of protein per meal, which is going to help you build lean muscle and also lose body fat, right? So if you're like working out and like, you know, burning off that fat, you're still keeping that muscle on your body. You're still building up your bones. And so, yeah, I think I've also given myself a lot more grace of where I am with my body. Like, you know, my stomach is just, the skin's just softer and, you know, it's just, you just kind of take it as it is. And although like I always tell myself, it's like, I can't look back anymore. Like sometimes I look back at my photos and think like, oh gosh, you know, like
I didn't appreciate that body enough.
You know,
those were the days.
And
now
I'm like,
I feel like it's a
I
different
can't do
way.
this anymore. I can't look back and I don't torture myself but I see like old
Such
footage.
a gift though to be able to carry a child.
Right, and so
like,
it's like-
your body did that. Like I
Yeah.
have loose skin that like we did a bar class yesterday. I'm like, I am actually like so fine with my like loose skin that I
Yeah.
have. Like it's like such a beautiful reminder of like my body stretched to grow to healthy humans. Like,
Right.
what a blessing.
And I'm still breastfeeding too. So I'm like, okay, I got to give myself that grace too of like
how old's your daughter?
17 months.
You go, mama. Wow.
Are you going to keep going until she says she's ready to be done?
Yeah.
Good
I
for
think
you.
So, I mean, I don't know if like she wants it. I'm all about following your instincts, and babies are incredibly instinctual, more than
Very.
us, because
Yeah.
they don't have any
They're
programming.
pure.
They're 100% pure. They don't. So that's why I'm like, I let her lead a lot of things because I'm like, she knows more
Just
than
wait for
me,
the second
you know?
one, sweet girl. You will be like, okay, mama, let's put some routines in. But you're 100% right. And I feel like even like when you give birth, I love that you did a home birth, but even when you
Yeah.
give birth, like so much is like disconnected from like what your instinct is. And it's so
Yeah.
much about systems and protocols and things that you're just
Right.
told to do. So
Right.
good for you for letting her lead the way.
Yeah.
So sweet.
But I want all women to feel like that. I want all women to feel empowered to listen to themselves and to feel like they can make the decisions for their bodies, you know? I think it can be tough during pregnancy for sure because your hormones are so out of whack and it's like, what do I listen to? Do I listen to the voice that says I just want to eat cereal all day? You know, so it is kind of a fine line when you're pregnant to still at least, okay, have a little sense of like, all right, I do need to still eat my protein. I still need to get these like nutrition, like, you know, these nutrients into my body. But then, you know, knowing when you need to push yourself and I think knowing when you can rest, right? Like just having that discernment for yourself, I think is key.
Well, and I think having conversations like this are so helpful to women because a lot of the times I feel like we think of it as a punishment, like that we should be eating this way because we're punishing our bodies because we need to be thin or like we need to work out. And I have just learned, like, especially after having my son, I didn't work out for like 8 months because I was so overwhelmed, like stepping into motherhood for the first time. And I couldn't figure out his schedule and when I could go and when I could breastfeed and when I could pump. And I was like, it was at that point, I'm like, oh, forget the workout.
Like, the mental exhaustion has been enough.
We've done a marathon in my
tough.
head.
And like I always think that too. Like I'm someone who's like really into fitness.
And it's still even hard for you.
Yeah, and it was tough for me. So it's like I have that whole new like compassion for women who aren't into fitness like me and are trying to get there, you know?
Right.
And so I like my hearts do go out.
You totally can see why people are like, nope, I'm just won't. I do think though, as you have more babies, you become less like overwhelmed and stressed.
I'm sure because you're not so worried.
Yeah.
You're more,
There's so much worry.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
But I think it's like the key for me, and I think like what you're saying too is like when you change your mindset to this is for you. Like that's when I started working out and like prioritizing myself. I told my husband, I remember it was right after New Year's. So like Miller was a little over a year. And we both looked at each other because he was an athlete at USC too. And it's like we were fighting so much and doing all these things. And we're like, because we haven't worked out. And that's like really important to us. Like it sounds vain and you sound like you're like being so selfish.
No, it's
but
such a
in
mental...
parenthood, like that becomes your 30 minutes, like, or 20 minutes or whatever. Like you're saying, if it's breath work, if it's meditation, whatever it is, just like, I hope women hear that this kid, like, instead of thinking of it as a punishment, it's like, I get to do this for me. Like I'm going to get some help if I can. to watch the baby, to figure out my schedule,
or
so that I can
go
while they're napping.
I mean, and also you could do so much with your baby too. Like there's so many workouts you could do with your baby.
And I look back when before she was crawling and walking, and I was like, why did I think that was hard? Like, she was just laying there. Like,
you think all these stages are hard?
Yeah. That's what I was
and then you get to the next stage, you're like, God, can we go back?
Yeah.
That was easy.
She was like running down the street. I was like, and then I look back at videos where she was laying there. I was like, why did I think that was hard? Like you can work out and like while she's laying there.
So true.
You can do things.
But yeah, it's so different. But yeah, I think like ask for that help. Like for my husband and I, like we've now like, I think it's taken us this long to kind of figure out it's like every day is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you need to come home at this time so that I can just mentally just get out for a little bit, and do my thing. And cause I like to get out and I just need that time, like mentally, of course. But yeah, I think we just need to figure it out. And I think it can be really tough. Yeah. And it took you 8 months, right?
Like till I started working out. And then my son was like, he was like 14, 15 months till I started getting into a real workout routine and prioritizing it. And then with that, then you see results and then you eat better. Like it's a really good domino effect once you get into it. Yeah. But it's really hard, especially for first time moms, because you're so overwhelmed.
I don't think there needs to be a rush either. I think like make walks your best friend. Yep. Like keep it really simple. Walk as much as you can, I think also if you're breastfeeding or you're bottle feeding, whatever, you can sit there and you can breathe. I remember I used to do a lot of breathing when I would just sit there with her, and I would connect to my pelvic floor. I would do like some pelvic floor lifts, and I would just kind of connect with her, but also like just connect with my pelvic floor. Like when I was doing that, instead of, I know you can just like get on your phone and stuff, but I think that can be a really great time, like 15 minutes, right? Yeah. Is a really easy thing to do, the walking, and then just make sure you're getting that protein and the fat. And I think, right, just like keep it really simple, and then maybe add some liver pills.
There you go. I will be adding that. You have so many amazing resources for people. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find your programs, all of that.
Yes. So my app is called Barre Definition. And so you can go to barredefinition.com, and that's the BARRE, not like a drinking bar, the ballet bar.
The other bar.
And in there I have my prenatal program, Power My Pregnancy, the ab rehab, and another postnatal program called Back in Action, which is 20-minute workouts, which are great to squeeze in. Everything's at home, minimal equipment. And then also I have meal guides. And then now we have our protein that we just launched, the whey and the collagen. So,
I can't wait to try it.
So excited. Yeah. And tell everyone where they can find you on socials.
Oh, yes. And I'm Action Jacquelyn everywhere. So you can find me everywhere. YouTube, Instagram. Instagram is like my main hub. And then YouTube and TikTok and all those things.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is so fun. You girls are so fun to talk to.
Let's go make a smoothie.
I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
Just don't look in my fridge, Jacquelyn. You'll be like, oh, well, this is your problem.
Thanks for tuning in to Camp Chaos. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our show. Connect with us on social media at Camp Chaos Podcast. Until next time, campers.